Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Coffee with the Nordics. I hope you have your favorite brew ready for this session. My name is 𝗍𝗵 𝗀𝗏. I'm CEO of Expert Music Sweden. And today we're broadcasting live from STIM Music Room, where you as a STIM member can use this space for work or meetings. And we have some studios, or STIM has some studios in the back. STIM is a part owner of Expert Music Sweden together with 𝗩𝗏𝗏𝗀 and Sami. And we're also part of Nordics, the Nordic Music Export Offices, and together we do many things abroad and at home, and things like this, Morning Coffee with the Nordics. And today we're going to have a very interesting talk. I'm really looking forward to the talk between Vargas Lagola, Salem Fakir, and Vincent Pontare, and 𝗍𝗵𝗴𝗀, journalist, also known as the pop professor. So, have a great cup of coffee or tea, maybe, and looking forward to this. Take it away, guys.
Thank you. My name is 𝗍𝗵𝗴𝗀, and I'm a music journalist based here in Stockholm. And I think I'll introduce our guests immediately. Welcome, Salem and Vincent. You get an applause from me.
Thank you.
Okay. I think few people outside Sweden would recognize you on the street, but I think everyone who watches this has heard your music. So before introducing you, I'll just read up some names you have worked with.
Yes.
You work with Avicii, Madonna, Swedish House Mafia, Axwell and Ingrosso, 𝗍𝗏 Rocky, David Guetta, Sia, Katy Perry, Seinabo Bosi, Veronica Madio, Agnes, and the metal act Ghost.
Yes, correct.
Which is quite insane and impressive. But if we could just introduce you, Salem Fakir,
yes,
Vincent Pontare, and to make things confusing, when you're not working with others, you do your own music.
Yes.
But then you change your names.
Yeah, we call ourselves Vargas Lagola.
Vargas Lagola.
Yeah, it's a really difficult name, but it's a fun name. Yeah.
And we will talk, of course, about your music you're doing as your own duo. But first, all these artists I mentioned, you have not only written and produced songs for them, you also play on those records, and on a lot of those records you actually sing too.
Yeah.
You're not credited as a vocalist, but it's your voices that you actually hear on Axwell and Ingrosso, for instance.
Yeah.
And the total number of streams on your songs is more than 8 billion, almost 9 billion now.
Wow. Oh,
so
sounds
which
a lot.
is quite impressive. So maybe the first question is, who are you?
Two dudes that loves music.
Yeah, that sounds correct. Yeah.
Yeah. If we start with your background, we start with you, Salem.
Yeah.
You started out as a sort of a violin prodigy, didn't you? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, prodigy. Maybe it's that I don't know if you are born a prodigy, but I think the story is that when I was born, I have three older siblings, and when I was born, they just started to play music. So I think I was brought into a home with a lot of instruments, and people were playing. I think that's a big thing for me, that I was brought up in a home with a lot of instruments, a lot of music, and so for me, I were talking about I really wanted to learn some instruments, and for me it was the violin. I don't know why, but my mother and father said that I saw some concert on TV or something, and I saw a violinist play. So I got this hang up, and I really wanted to play. So I started first with piano, and then when we found teacher that actually could teach a 4-year-old, because that wasn't
you were only 4 when you started
finally, but I started talking about it since I was 3 or something.
Was that when you started to play the piano or the violin?
I started first with the piano because we didn't find a teacher who could teach, but it was around there at least. So I started, and I think I've had it's been easy for me. Easy. It maybe a bit more easy for me to learn like instruments. I don't know why, but it's a been a thing for people have different skills, and that's the thing that I've been continuing. I love the process of learning, let's say, instruments, or it's a new thing that I have to figure the system out and and
the
this is
technique.
So that's been like a
And you can pick up almost any instrument and be able to play it, right?
yeah. Today it's almost anything. The horn play, the thing with the
trumpet.
the trumpet, for example, it's like 3 buttons.
That's
I don't
the only
understand that.
instrument you don't play.
No, but I don't still don't. I understand it, but I thought I won't try that.
No,
But
no.
things with the buttons on, I can figure
And
out.
I suppose very few 3-year-olds are so dedicated that they sort of wait they have to wait until they're 4 to be able to play an instrument. I mean, your dedication and motivation is quite something. Yeah.
Maybe, but
Yeah.
with help, because when you're so young, you need the help from another, like
Yeah,
father or
absolutely.
mother. So they actually, what do you call it when? What's the English word for muta? They
Bribe.
bribe me
Bribes,
with like
yeah.
raisins and stuff.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you do this,
Yeah.
you will get this.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Get
so-
this chocolate
yeah.
cake
So in the
after
beginning, of course, you don't want
6
that's why-
hours
Yeah.
of practice.
Yeah, yeah, and then you have this cookie.
Yeah.
This cookie. Yeah.
I think we'll stay a little bit longer because it says something on what you do today.
Yeah.
But then you studied at the Royal College of Music in Stockholm.
Yeah, but I was really, yeah. But then I was 18. I'm asking you. Was I?
Probably,
Yeah,
probably.
But the thing is, when I, you said the Royal. What did you say?
Royal College of Music,
Yeah, that's
which
it.
is 𝗩𝗿𝗃 Musikhögskolan
Yeah.
in Swedish.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when I, that's right after gymnasiet. I still don't know the word for that in English. The thing is, I already were working so much. So when I did this Royal, that word, Musikhögskolan,
Sounds very fancy.
yeah, I was working so much, so I didn't pay it. I wasn't a good student, so I actually dropped off after 1.5 years because I worked so much already, and I've been working as a musician since I was 13, almost because
As a professional musician.
because I was
yeah.
touring already then. So I've been throughout all my studies. I actually were working on the side as a musician. So I dropped out and just kept working instead.
Yeah. And you also did 3 albums under your own name as a pop artist.
Yeah, and that was later. 10
Yeah,
years
later, yeah. From 2007 to 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Vincent, you at this time, you didn't know each other. You started out as a rapper, right?
Yes. First, it was I started playing rock music when I was a kid, and then moved over to like skate punk, hardcore music, and played drums. And then I made a transition into the hip hop because it felt like during that time the hardcore scene, skate punk, was so close to the hip hop.
Yeah.
Snowboarding and stuff, so it was like a natural transition over to hip hop, and then I stayed with that for 10 years maybe.
And early on you entered like the Swedish championships of rap.
Yeah.
And you did very well in that.
Yeah, I mean, it was, you had the first place, second place, and all the rest went to third place. And so it sounds really good with, you came up with third place in the Swedish
But it was
championship.
everyone.
Yeah, but it was everyone. But it was like, what do you say, delfinaler, like before the final.
Semi-final,
You had
sort
the
of, yeah.
semifinals and so on. So we did something good, but it was an experience.
Yeah.
And then after that, I started to write choruses, but rapping in the verses. So it was like a transition into the songwriting, and then started to sing like the whole songs.
Yeah.
So.
But you also briefly had your own career as an artist about the same time that Salem 𝗟𝗴𝗀
Yeah.
had his.
Yes.
You did some records under the name Vincent Pontare.
Yes.
What did they sound like?
It was a mix of 60s, 70s, and a bit reggae, ska-ish kind of vibes, but still pop songs. So yeah, and we had the same booking agency and also some mutual friends. So we met a lot of times, and so we knew about each other.
Yeah. And those records you made, that was like 11 years ago or something?
Yeah, I think I released my first single as Vincent 2006.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the same year.
Yeah.
It's the same
Yeah,
year.
the same year, yeah.
Yeah.
But then you sort of learned to know each other and you stopped doing records under your own name.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that time? How did you become this songwriting duo?
Yeah, it was.
It's a coincidence.
Yeah,
Actually,
it was through 𝗍 𝗟𝗴𝗀 at 𝗏𝗏lsten,
yeah.
our booking agency.
Because he had an artist that wanted to write with me, but I didn't have a studio. I've never had a studio. I've always done everything from my home or in a garage or somewhere. So I didn't have a studio, and then he said that you and Magnus 𝗍𝗍 just had got this studio, and so he said you should go. Maybe you can have a room there. Just book a room, or what did he say?
Yeah, and he knew that I was going I was traveling, and it was like a month or something. That was my room was empty, so he was like, "Yeah, you should rent Vincent's room."
Yeah,
and then you did that.
Yeah.
But then I didn't travel, so we started. Or what was it? I was away for a couple of weeks or something. Then when I came back, we said like we can share the studio, so you can work Monday, I work Tuesday, you work Wednesday, and so on.
Yeah, because when I had that session, that the studio it's still amazing. It's the same studio. It's I have exactly the same feeling about that studio. It's such a nice place. So of course, when I saw that place, I tried to sneak myself in. Maybe I can sit in this corner or something. Can I please stay? And after that, so I actually stayed for a while, and then we started to. How do you say? It's like everyone in the studio had some projects, and we enjoyed the company of everyone. So we just put the project in the studio instead. Maybe it was your project from the beginning, but we we started to work on the same project. So it was like a.
So you and I and Magnus kind of worked together and brought different projects in.
Yeah.
And Magnus, who you mentioned, is Magnus 𝗍𝗍.
Yes.
And you worked like a trio almost for a while.
Yeah.
And he came from more the beat side, right?
Yes.
But you did Don't Wait, 𝗏𝗏𝗀.
Yeah, actually that was
Magnus.
Yeah.
And all the 𝗍𝗍𝗶𝗍.
Yeah, the 𝗍𝗍𝗶 stuff we did with Magnus.
That's
same
a
thing,
typical like collaboration, because it was 𝗍𝗍𝗶 and Magnus had his their thing, and then like they wanted a string part, like a violin part in this a specific song, and then could you do it? Yes, of course I can do it, because I love that. So they just sent the files in, and I did something. I sent it back.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just a bit. Kom aldrig igen.
Yeah.
Trading.
So instead of sort of sampling the string parts, you were playing the string parts on your violin. Yeah.
So stuff like that. We
Yeah.
started off doing stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Also, I remember 𝗍𝗍𝗶𝗍 told me once, I think it's on the second album, there was a track you needed like a really big gospel choir.
Yeah.
With different kind of characters and voices. And you did all those voices. You sort of became this big Harlem choir by yourself.
Yes.
How did you do that?
But that's the same thing. I love to pick especially if you have something that you need a solution. for.
Yeah.
You should. I love that to like dive into that.
Yeah. Like we have a problem here. We need.
Yeah, we
yeah,
need to. And then
yeah.
I love the process of hearing something and then understand what am I actually hearing, and all the. I still have this problem when I listen to a symphony orchestra. I understand that most people hear the whole or just the sound, but I hear the
Each
the-
instrument,
each
yeah.
instrument group or something. I can pick out who's playing what,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
often understand who's playing a false note, so I can. So, but that's I think that's mostly because I've practiced it and I've been so interested in it. So that's back. Yeah, going back to the choir thing, the gospel choir. I love that.
The challenge to
understand
recreate
how should I do this
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I can bring out the sound of a big choir. So that's just
And
it's
then
a
you like,
hobby or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do that.
Yeah, but I think it's still a mystery to me and all of us. What do you actually say? This would be a studio day for you. You have both arrived to your studio and start working. What do you actually do then? Do you pick up an instrument? What instrument? What are your roles and how do you connect?
Oh, that's totally different from the.
Yeah,
to- from-
we both play pretty much everything. I don't play the violin, but
I haven't done it in a
yeah,
in a year.
but
no.
but we have like different vibes in our how we play the instruments. So and then we just mess around. Like I go with the drums and you with the piano, or vice versa.
You sort of jam. You don't have any sort of melodies before. Or?
That we can also start
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So it's totally different, and like depending on what we're doing. Sometimes we just have a title, and then we work out of that.
Yeah.
And I have to say, nowadays, I think now we've been working a lot for many years. Actually, it's almost 10 years.
Yeah. We
But-
said that we have to celebrate when it's 10
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
So we need to figure out what date it was. We started, but of course, it's like for us, it's like projects we're doing. I feel it's like we're having a bunch of projects, and depending on what project we're doing for that week or that day, we have different approaches because I feel that we've been better and better. The schedule is like we set in the schedule. We set like a date for today. It's just playtime, and then it's whatever.
Yeah.
Do you want to start with the drums or a bass line or a guitar chord? Anything works. If we have a specific project, we've been often like preparing some stuff for that project. So
Yeah.
it's more like we do this. Vad heter skafferi?
Uh,
It's like you go to the
like a storage thing where you
yeah.
food, not the refrigerator,
but no,
but
you
next to it.
prepare. You
Yeah.
chop the onions and you chop
Yeah.
the tomatoes for
That's a good way to
when
see
you
it.
know what
Yeah.
to cook.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so in that project we bring that out and start to like put the dish together, sort of. So if you understand
Yeah,
that, that's different mindsets, and I feel that it makes it pretty much. It doesn't feel like just like
No,
we
no.
can actually do stuff without having so much feeling.
Yeah.
We can actually start something just with the basics, sort of.
Yeah.
We need to.
Yeah. And I'm thinking about that famous quote from 𝗍𝗷 𝗚𝗍𝗃 when he said like the reporter was saying something like, oh, you got so lucky today, you won the first place, and he said like, yeah, it's so interesting, the more I practice the more lucky I get.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that we always prepare for stuff. And then it's easier to create when you are supposed to create.
Yeah.
And as you also say, you prepare the time to actually. You prepare. How do you say it? You prepare the situation. It's like we're really Monday to Friday. We're there, like office hours.
Yeah.
But if you are there, like certain times when actually an idea come up,
Yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah.
actually
Yeah.
what do you how do you say it? It's like
Yeah, it's like you make space for creativity to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
When you're in the studio, and some days you're more like a carpenter. You
Yeah.
just you make this thing out of that we already had done, like, and some other days you're the architect, and then you
Yeah.
write everything.
Yeah.
Like,
And when you sort of, you're only the carpenter and work on this musical furniture, then sort of magic can happen because you're there and putting the hours in. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's actually a lot like that, because we actually said it out loud also, that we're kind of fooling ourselves, that we create the schedule but we never stick to the schedule.
No.
So we have like, today we're supposed to do like that, so it's really funny to do this instead. You know.
But I think the sort of big myth about the studio, how we work in the studio, which is true in a way, is that everyone comes in very late and works all night. There's weed smoke in the studio, and you need to vibe sort of. But that's really sort of a waste of time a lot of times.
I think it's I think both are not useful. Both
useful.
You should. I think that's a good thing too. Either you smoke weed or not, or having a glass of wine. I think. For example, we're working with Agnes now, and the music is like it feels like it's like a pre-party or on a party, or it's not the best thing to do. Really like disco vibe song. 9 in the morning. You just drop the kids off, and you're like, I'm so tired. Nothing will happen. So of course, when you create that thing, or you can actually the same thing. We could start the idea, but when we finish this idea, it's almost like we can't be sober when we finish it, because we need a glass of champagne or something just to get the vibe. Because the listener will end up listening to that with a glass of champagne. So maybe I think it's a mix.
And it's also like whatever works for you. Like if your thing is to come in at midnight and smoke weed to get the best songs out, I mean, there's no rules in music.
But that's interesting, because for you and me, we have had the same inställning, same
approach
to it. So that's also interesting, because
and it's also good that it would be a problem if I always worked late nights and you always worked 9 to 5. So
if we take I mean Veronica Madio as an example, which I think you did this album with her called Satan i gatan, which there's a 10-year celebration in Sweden now.
Wow,
it was
this week actually. I think
it was the album after that was
Handen i fickan.
That's the one. That's the one you did.
Yeah.
But she's enormous important artist in Sweden, and you work closely with her. Say if you bring her in and someone decides now we're going to make this album together with Veronica Madio, how do you start?
It's also depending on what artist it is. Veronica is a person who feel that always have an idea, always have a goal, always prepared, always have like a lyrics stuff. She has an idea. In that case, it feels like our part should be in the beginning to make a place for say her to feel comfortable
to put out all the
so
ideas.
She can sort of try the thought of maybe this melody or something like that.
And have a place where she can feel comfortable to be naked, or like in front of the world or us or whatever. I feel that she's a artist with a självförtroende, with confidence. So if we take another artist, maybe we need to bring it out more, bring the ideas out. And I feel that in all the cases, it's like when you work together, you make the place for the ideas to grow, or bring out the best of you as an artist or who it is, and then it feels like we take the idea and put it in a context, or help the idea to be as good as it can get, almost.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah.
I guess you have to be a brilliant musician and a songwriter, of course, but I guess you also have to be like a coach sometimes, because artists tend to be very shy and fragile persons.
Yeah, it's a lot of psychology in the whole creative process.
Or the artists are very
very big confidence.
Very confident. And maybe then you have to just
bring them down a little bit.
Yeah, then you're more like then you're
take
more
it
like
easy now. Sit down. You're not that good.
Yeah, but we worked with an artist that he you said it. His voice is like a Ferrari.
Yeah.
And he always wanted to have the gas pedal all the way down all the time.
Yeah.
And it was really nice. And all the idea was like full pedal to the
So
metal.
our mission was to back it up a bit and
Yeah.
use it sometimes, you know, because then you appreciate it more as a listener, instead of like being all over the place all the time. You know. But I feel that even though the artist is super confident and know where to go, it's a lot of psychology in the whole process anyways, because everyone can have their days ups and downs, and so it's a very interesting
dynamic.
The whole creative part.
And I have to add, because and there, when you're prepared for that meeting with an artist, that, as I said, maybe in the beginning, to make the place that the artist feels comfortable, but also always in the background we have the idea of what we think it would be nice if this artist So if you have put the timing in, and like if you have the right timing, you can like sort of make this pot of ideas to grow, because you can like, or just you can put some more wood in the fire, and it's just so it's like a balancing act. Somehow.
Say if you get contacted by a label or an artist directly, and you work with a lot of superstar artists, do they give you sort of a brief before? Now on this album we're looking for it to be Laurel Canyon, blah blah blah, or how does it work? Do you
sometimes, but we haven't really been working like that. That we have like super directions from a label like that, and sometimes when you get that, I also think that you always end up somewhere else, and that's the song that they go with, or because it feels it's very hard in the beginning of a whole process for a record to say that it should sound like this. You always end up somewhere else, and
maybe leaning on that first idea, but I totally agree. And it's always interesting to see the labels' wishes and the artist's ideas, because I feel like they're always separate.
Okay,
or not separate. So when and in the end, the label just maybe wants songs that you can actually play.
That's what I was going for. Like that, most of the times it's that song that maybe they didn't know that they wanted. That comes.
Yeah.
So,
what is the sort of biggest session you ever done with the biggest artist that you maybe were quite nervous to do? Madonna, maybe.
Yeah, she of course she's the. I think she's the big. She will always be the biggest. But
that was nervous.
Can you describe that? Because how does that work? What is it like creating music with Madonna?
But that's the thing that I was thinking about now. That it feels like when you start doing music, you have all these questions in your head. Like I remember I had all these ideas about mixing. Like, if I had this really good mixer dude, what do they do? I mean, how can it sound so good? And then when you have mixed with a really good mixer engineer, you know that, okay, this is what he does. And then also, like, when you work with artists, then you realize, high or low, everyone is just human, and everyone kind of works the same a little bit. So it's not that big of a difference if you work with Madonna or if you work with a totally fresh out of the box
But
artist.
if we take Madonna as an example, were you all present in the same room? Or
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think that session wasn't it like a new thing that she did, because I got the impression that she hadn't had that kind of session before, because at first we were different teams, so we were actually, it was like a huge studio, and we were making
Different songwriting teams in the studio.
and it was really interesting because we knew almost everyone there. It was not huge amount. I think we were 2 teams or something.
Yeah.
And she, but of course, when we did that, it was I think the crew and everyone in the studio, especially. But okay, this is my interpretation. But in America, you still have this hierarchy. What do you call the hierarchy?
Hierarchy, yeah.
The system is more, especially in the music business. You have the runner, the person who do the coffee, the person who opened the door, and you don't say anything until you get to the next step. Maybe you actually are in the studio and do something. You have this. You have to make your step up. You have your what do you say? Your career is like you have a certain way to go, and when you are in that place, you actually stand in the studio and actually are allowed to say something. Then you take the place, and it felt like that system in the studio were more. They were like, it's Madonna because she's on the top. So everyone was they were so
On their
nervous.
toes.
Yeah, they were so nervous.
And also she had her own crew there.
Yeah.
And it was like, what do you say, air humidifiers and stuff, like everything was perfect, candles, and they had this countdown also, like, she's coming in 20, she's coming in 10, she's coming in 5. So everyone was like super nervous, and we just went back to like our kind of like we always do. We build a studio in not the control room, because that's not how we work. We build a studio in the live room where all the instruments is.
Okay.
So we put up speakers and had a laptop, and then we had the piano, then we have the guitars and everything, so it's easy to just play, record, put in vocals, and that's how we work. So we felt comfortable in that because we had our own like free zone in that chaos that was going on around us.
As opposed to, I guess, the old school style is to have someone behind the glass.
Yeah.
But you want that chaos, in a good way.
And
it's opposite of chaos, because we do our own little world.
Yeah.
And I think that actually is really old school, because that's how you, even if you are in a studio, I don't think they wrote so much stuff in the control room, because it's only buttons there. You get nothing from it. So we always done that, and it's always so interesting, especially in America, to say no, we don't want to be here. We want to build our own studio in there. Like, what? Yeah. So maybe they so I feel like it's and actually with the Madonna session, it was really, all the time we met her, it was really old school. I think we didn't have we weren't allowed even to have a computer for a while.
No, okay.
Only instrument.
Yeah, we had a computer when we were writing lyrics, but we started the first day. We were sitting on the floor, jamming with a guitar. So, and we worked for a week or 2 weeks or something, and we always ended up with a piano, guitar, just sitting, writing, singing, writing lyrics. So it was like super traditional old school songwriting. And that was really fun.
Yeah.
Some of the work you're most famous for is the one you've done with DJs, sort of superstar DJ artists like Avicii, Swedish House Mafia, Axel Ingrosso, which is 2/3 of the Swedish House Mafia. And when you listen to those tracks, you realize how extremely good singers you both are. You have something they sort of need, and the way your voices blend is something unique. Sort of. Can you tell us about that? So how do you, when you're working with Axel Ingrosso, for instance, what is that kind of session? Do they give you like a song and you share the studio with them? We should add. Yeah.
So we're next door to each other, and we always been working like we sit like we always do with the instrument, and then we come up with a sketch, and then we play it for them, and if they like it or not, we build from if they pick out a song, we start to build around that, and then they finish it. So
and remember, they are DJs. They have a totally other approach. To stuff, but that's also like everyone is unique. They have their approach. Tim had his, Avicii had his approach. Everyone, but do you know why we ended up doing so much EDM stuff with DJ? I don't.
I think it's just because we are friends with them. You know, like we know each other. Like so.
But you were brilliant at, because the tracks you made became the biggest hits.
From the beginning.
But it's always I think it's super fascinating because everyone has their own super skill. Like when you work with especially DJs, they come from a totally different angle than what we come from, and it's really cool. When those worlds meet.
And when you have been working on those songs and records, you never see your faces, and you're not credited either. It's just the artist is the DJ or the EDM artist. But you did the Coachella festival a few years ago with Axel Ingrosso.
It was a few years.
A few years. But then you actually got to see you two perform. Wearing face paint.
Yes.
Was that the start of Vargas and Lagola? Were you Vargas and Lagola then, or was that maybe the idea came from that? Or?
I think it started with that. Actually, I remember when we were at the record plant with the 𝗍𝗃 and we wrote "Sun is Shining." That was the first time we started think like we let's try today to think like it's a song for us. And then we started, and that was also On My Way. On My Way and Sun is Shining was those two songs that we tried to think like that. So I guess the whole process started there. And then Coachella was also a great environment for exploring the whole visual thing, because it's so out in the desert, everybody is in a vibe, and it's already has this hippie feel there. So we said that it would be super boring to just step up on stage and like this, so we have to do something extreme.
Yeah, and we went pretty far actually. we made these costumes. It was like it was it was pretty. We took it pretty far. It was a costumes and face paint, and because it was like we're used to the EDM. Do you still say EDM?
I don't know.
Is that a word?
Again, no one uses it anymore. But I think people know what it is. But that phase is sort of over.
So what do you call the music?
Dance music.
Dance music.
Maybe.
No, but being on a dance music concert. Already then it was like the next step for a DJ to do is actually to blow up the whole the stage, because they had so much fireworks and laser and we'd already done that. We've been on stage with a lot of people, DJs. So I think the plan from the beginning was we need to like look even bigger.
Yeah.
And I'm quite small, so for me it was nice. You're huge, but so that we had like feathers and the like big huge head. What do you call it?
Yeah, it was like a bird head, and you had like a.
So we tried to like match sort of the laser show and like and the fireworks. So that was the plan from the beginning. You need to stick out because.
And also that we appreciate when you get that visual experience. So it's not only what you hear, it's what you see also.
If someone would hear Vargas and Lagola or see you live and they didn't know anything about you, I guess no one would guess that you come from Stockholm. Everyone would think that you sort of live in a hippie community in California or something. But is that sort of the idea for Vargas and Lagola? It's just a very small place in Sweden.
Yeah, I think I mean, that was also the beginning of the project with our own band, that we created this fantasy, what these characters should be. So we started off going out in the desert outside of LA and did those pictures that we had in the studio, looking at when we created the music. And we also had that idea, like maybe it's like 1985 and it's a post-apocalyptic world. Everyone moved out to the cities.
2085.
2085.
But those movies were made in 1985.
And like everything is super high technology, but it's also super back to the nature. So and that is the vibe, and also that's why we play around with incense live and the smell and the face paint, and just to create that visual experience that adds another layer to the music.
When you hear that you're singing, it's sort of it's easy to associate to like the 70s, those harmonies. Is that an influence for you?
Yeah. It feels like both you and I are a lot of like 60s, 70s, and also you've been in the hip hop world, and we kind of pick stuff from. It's a mishmash from from all kind of vibes.
You worked with Avicii Timberling for a long time, almost on every Avicii project.
Yeah.
But he died very sadly a couple of years ago, only 28 years old. But he sort of, when you listen to those records, he was trying to leave this EDM word and sort of becoming something else that you can't put a label on. And you did some fantastic tracks where really have that sort of more hippie-ish peace and mind vibe to it. Yeah. So a lot of people were very tired on that and trying to do something else.
Yeah, but that's I think everyone is in all the genres want to do something else, but particularly for him, I never saw him as a like house DJ. I never saw him like of course he did music with some kind of beat to it, but I always felt that he was a producer, he was a songwriter, and he wanted to do great songs, like great records. So we tried a lot of things during all the years. I'm trying to say it's like I think that was a bit more like his nature, because he always wanted to just.
And I think that was his strength too, that he was so open-minded for different genres. Like it really didn't matter what kind of genre it was. It was more about the song. Like if it's a strong song and so that was a really that was a lot of fun working with him. That he was so, let's do this today, let's do this tomorrow, and
when he died, he left like an unfinished albums. Some songs were almost finished, some only sketches, and his father Claes Berg asked you to finish this album and release it as you would think Tim have wanted that album. we could talk for this for an hour, but just a short answer. What was it like to finish those almost finished recordings you had worked with him on?
It wasn't easy, but for us, the songs were almost finished.
Yeah.
So I think for us maybe it was a bit easier than some people in the project had. I think
all of our songs was pretty much like 80-90% already finished. So that was really nice. Because it would be a lot harder if we had to create something from scratch, from like a phone memo or something. But I feel that like during the first time it was really hard, but then it was a bit like therapy in a way also, to just stay in the moment and with the music and finish it.
Has that experience changed you in any way? Changed your approach to music or the music business?
For me, no. But of course, it's a friend that's gone. But not for music. I have to say, I was even more. I think this is a disease, but you want to make more music. It didn't make me feel that I wanted to do less music after that in a weird way. But because, and the thing with Tim, we saw that. Of course, the whole thing with that period, it was really, everything was weird. But we saw Tim as a we felt that he was back in his life, and we saw this when you can see in a person that is like. It's happening.
Like creating music was his happy place.
So we saw that, and that was the part that we always been a part of in his life. That it was like he really, how do you say it? He was like. Peppad. What's the word?
Fired up about the music.
So as you said, when we had to finish those songs, I only heard that part in the music. It was like
that was what we had in our mind. That it felt like he was so happy with the new music. So for us, it felt supernatural to finish it and get it out there.
One project which sort of stands out, I think, surprised a lot of people. You have done all this work with a DJ artist, and you're doing your own thing with Vargas Lagola. But you also did Ghost, which is sort of a one-man metal act, a Swedish thing, which became a huge success. How did you end up working with Ghost, which really is Tobias Forge, is one person only?
Jonas, do you know? How did... I don't remember. No. I don't remember who.
Jonas, we are addressing now. Out of the picture is your A&R, Jonas Wikström.
And manager.
And
manager.
And a friend.
A friend.
Third.
And a brother.
Third. What do you say? The third bandman.
Just to explain it to viewers. Who is this guy he's talking to now? But just musically, because this is like almost metal meets Phantom of the Opera, sort of.
And I will say immediately, it's sort of super. It's really natural. He has costumes. Costumes. He's been creating his own world. We create our own world. Musically wise, it's we're both from the. I've been playing a lot of rock too. I've been going through all the genres. You've been playing. Actually, it's super. It's the same thing. He's making music for big arenas. We've been working with DJs for big arenas. It's actually the same thing. It's just he's just doing. He's doing a different. It's a, what do you say, cuisine? It's like he's doing that kind of food, and they're doing that kind of food, but they're playing for the same audience. And he's one of the. So it's actually really natural to do. It's just and for me, the who loves the geeky stuff, it's like you just use a different musical vocabulary, but it's the same approach. We're still talking about the same thing, the feeling that the audience need to get. It's
Yeah.
almost the same.
Yeah.
You still need the chorus. and
When you
still-
say it,
yeah.
it's quite similar
Yeah,
to
it's
Vargas
really-
and Lagola, actually.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
sort
and
of create your own word, almost behind a mask.
Yeah, but
You
now
could
I'm
have done
actually
that,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
the DJ world.
Ah,
Because
okay,
the DJ
okay,
world
yeah,
are doing the same stuff.
Yeah,
Everyone is playing for
yeah.
and in with Ghost they are playing in huge
Arena
arenas.
band.
yeah.
So it's the same approach. What kind of music
Yeah.
you need to get that out.
Yeah.
And he as well. He's an artist that he got so much ideas. And now we've been working for a lot of years actually.
Yeah, but also now when we talked about Tim just before this, it feels like Tobias is also so open for trying different vibes.
Yeah, but still have a goal.
Super like
Focus.
direction, but also like he's so open for different bringing in different elements. So that's super fun.
We have people from all the Nordic countries watching and listening now. For people working in the music business now, I guess one of the big questions is, should I stay in my hometown or should I go to Los Angeles? And you have some sort of done both. What are your experience there? You worked in LA for a while, or
Yeah.
Yes.
did that work out good, or why are you back in Sweden?
I think it's super nice to go back and forth like we've been doing. So some periods we stay for a longer while, and then some periods is like just 2 weeks, and then we go back. And then you can like, it's nice to come back to Stockholm to just be in your zone and be the carpenter, like preparing all this stuff, and then you fly over and then you you have this bag with you with a lot of stuff, and then you work with people there.
Yeah, and
So-
also you can also add when you go in there for a week or 2 weeks, especially if you're there for just a week, you're actually going in this jet lag weird bubble, and you especially as you said, it's like you go there almost in a haze, and you just try to get you're like out hunting almost, like trying to get so much, and then you bring the thing that you actually collected there back home. And I have to say that the thing I'm thinking about, like, take anyone that we talked about, especially Tim Avicii in the beginning. He wrote all the songs in Stockholm. I think the biggest hits, Swedish House Mafia. Of course, they've been around the world,
but they sort of created.
We can take any band. Like, I think most of them have done some great work in their hometown, and then add going and get some inspiration or anything, and then go back home. It's I think that's a good mix.
Yeah, but of course it's always good to meet in person, because it's another thing. Even though when you have Zoom, it's not the same vibe as having the person in the room, and you can actually talk to and see the.
But of course, other songwriters and producers, they've been really successful moving to LA. So it's like everyone is doing.
Yeah,
but maybe you're risking of losing something that you're unique to you. If you look at the movie business, all the Nordic directors who's done a hit movie here gets money from a producer in America and says you should go over here and create an American movie.
Yeah.
And that sort of never works
No,
out
no,
well.
no.
And then they come back after a few years and
Yeah.
do another movie in their home country in own language, and that becomes much better.
Yeah, but this is the story.
Yeah.
I think it's you don't. The good thing is that you don't have to choose. You can work at home and you can go there.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to know why you are going there.
Yeah, that's
Because I feel for my own part that when I'm in LA and don't have a specific plan, it's a weird place to be in if you don't have a goal, you know. And I also see in a lot of people that it's what do you say? That place can be
It can eat you up.
it can eat you up
Yeah,
in a way.
Mm.
So I think it's good to know why you are there. And Matthew McConaughey, the actor, Agnes is reading his biography.
Ah, yeah, okay.
And it was a manager that told him, if you need Hollywood, you shouldn't be here.
No.
So
That-
go
that's,
away.
That's a really good advice.
Yeah, so if you go away and then come back,
Yeah.
like you have to have another approach.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
need it.
And I think he's from Texas. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Originally, yeah.
Uh,
What we have to wrap things up. How has the pandemic year been for you two, work-wise?
Work-wise, yeah, I think that's been the even more weird part, because we've been doing this for a long time, and we created our world, and in our studio it's like our own world, and it's in the beginning of this weird pandemic thing. For me, was really I couldn't figure it out in the beginning, because at our place nothing had happened. It wasn't different, and nothing was like, it's the same. But in
Yeah.
the world has changed
Yeah.
totally, and also like the super, like in our business, what we do today, we get paid for like 4 years later or something. Or
Yeah.
all the songs that we did, it's like they're 4 years old when they are
Yeah.
released. So that's also a weird thing working in this music business, because we don't get paid day by day.
No,
So
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
always used to have like the backup in the bank, that like
Yeah.
we're saving in, because we know that we're not getting paid today for what we do. So that was also weird
Yeah.
in the beginning.
Yeah, it
because it's
feels like when you do music or a musician, you're already in a way outside of the system in
Yeah,
a
sort of.
weird way.
yeah.
That's. I've been always been curious about it, and maybe it's a sensitive subject to talk about. But how do you sort of divide royalties if you work with an artist and you do the song together? Sometimes maybe the artist comes with a song that's 80% finished. Sometimes the artist maybe just write 2 lines in the verse or something.
Yeah.
And after the song is finished, how do you decide the percentage?
Yeah, this is
Who
still
you get that?
it's still a tricky subject, but we decided early on that we're trying to get an even split.
Like you 50% and the artist 50%, or what do you mean an even split?
No, we usually, if we work with an artist or artist or not, like if we're 4 in the room, it's like 4 ways, 4-way split. So we always split equal to the number of people that's in the room.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard. It can be that one person is quiet all session and then drops the title that makes the whole song.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's so hard to value how much you do, how little you do, and yeah.
But one thing that is actually a bit of a, not a problem, but that it feels like, because you have the royalty side and you have the songwriting side, and that's pretty difficult to because now it's really weird, because the producer can be the one who puts the thing that makes the songwriting that actually is that's the hit, because that was the
Yeah.
like what is
Yeah.
who did that is was the
Yeah.
producer, and the songwriters, as we often come with the production to
Yeah.
the producer, and the producer just cleans it up. So
Yeah.
who did what? So
Yeah,
of
yeah.
course it's tricky, and I think
and
we're still
it's
learning.
also, I think the whole system is still learning also, because it's still a bit uneven on the master side contra the like the royalty side and publishing, and it feels like everyone is still learning. So I think in like 10 years we will look back on this time and say like, wow, that was
really
the Wild West, you know, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think everyone is still learning.
Thanks for doing this. This has been so interesting.
Thank you.
We could talk more.
Yeah.
But thanks to everyone who has been watching this. And I hope you will tune in the next time. It's Coffee with the Nordics. Thank you.